Hi guys, and welcome to the Sunderland vs Rotherham match review. Now, we did draw 1-1 at the Stadium Art this evening, and what a frustrating game it was. Such a frustrating game, but it was probably a fair result in the end. But we'll go through the game step by step, starting off with our starting 11. So we had John McLaughlin in goal, we had Willis and Ozturk as the central defenders. We had Denver Hume on the left. We had Conor McLaughlin coming in to the side at right back, which was a worry for me from the off. We did go with Robson and McGeoch in the middle, which was the partnership that I wanted in midfield, so I couldn't complain about that. We had Gooch on the right. We had McGeady on the left, and Maguire was dropped to the bench. And up top, we had McNulty with O'Nien sort of just behind him, although for the majority of the time he was playing up there, he was pretty much a second striker anyway, so it was pretty much O'Nien and McNulty up top. But we get into the game, and 30 seconds in, it's just a dream start. Just a ball hoofed over the top perfectly for McNulty, brings it down, takes on the keeper, takes it past him, and slots it into an empty net. We're 1-0 up. Brilliant start. They did come back at us. They had an effort from Ladapo just outside the box, which went straight to McLaughlin. But then I feel like for the sort of next 25 minutes off, now we had brilliant control of the game. Our pressing was absolutely outstanding. It really was fantastic. We didn't give them a moment's rest, and we put so much energy into that first half. But then 10 minutes in, McGeady does get the ball on the left-hand side, puts the ball in. McNulty dummies it for O'Nien to come in. He leaves the ball, McNulty, O'Nien comes in, he lashes it over the bar. Then just 5 minutes later, McGeady on the left-hand side with an absolutely excellent piece of skill, nicking it around two Rotherham players before putting it towards that top right-hand corner, and it was an absolutely class save from the Rotherham keeper. It has to be said. So at this point, we could have been 2 or 3-0 up. Would it have been deserved? I think it would have been, because we were absolutely excellent. We were flying towards the early stages of the game. And then Conor McLaughlin himself, it did fall to him on the edge of the box, and he just lashed it a little bit. 25 minutes in, and he just smashed it way over the bar. But we were racking up little chances here and there, and we were creating plenty in that first half. Then on the 27th minute, we did get a penalty. A ball was flicked on really nicely by McNulty onto Gooch, takes a touch, takes it past his man, and the Rotherham defender comes across and does take out Gooch, which gives us a penalty for Aidan McGeady to step up and just tap it straight to the keeper. It was such a shit penalty. Should have been 2-0 up, could have been 3-0 up, to be honest with you, by this point. And, at this point, I did think to myself, Rotherham, at some point, because they are a good side, they are going to wake up, they are going to have a spell of their own, and I can just feel this is a moment that we're going to regret massively, which, of course, later on in the game, that proved to be the case. But Rotherham did start to come into it after about the half-hour mark. I feel like that penalty miss really, it took the wind out of ourselves a little bit, because, like I say, we were really kind of controlling the game, and we looked really good going forward. Defensively, we looked really good, and it really did take the wind out of ourselves. Everyone just looked deflated because they put so much work into the opening sort of half an hour, and so much energy into it. But Ladapo did get a chance. Ball whipped in. It was a great header, fantastic header. He rose above Willis and Ozturk. So much power behind it. If he went anywhere left or right, the ball there, that shot, it would have been 1-1 at that point. But luckily for us, it goes straight to McLaughlin, who holds the ball really well, because, like I say, there was a lot of power behind that shot. Then with about 5 minutes left over the first half, a ball was put over the top. John McLaughlin, Big John, he does commit himself, and he's done it a few times over the last few weeks, and I don't know why he keeps doing this. He commits himself far too early, doesn't need to do it. He could have just stood his ground, because the attacker for Rotherham, he still had so much space to run into down the left-hand side, but Big John's commit himself. He's still in and tried to get the ball. The Rotherham attacker manages to nick it round McLaughlin. It was a very tight angle, so we couldn't shoot really, but he does get it across goal, and Willis does manage to clear it away. So that was very lucky from us, and it was poor judgment from John McLaughlin. He did a similar thing last weekend against Accrington, and we got punished for it, but luckily this time we didn't. But then just before half-time, after Rotherham did start to pick up a little bit, the final sort of 10 minutes of that first half, Rotherham, they really were coming at us, but we did manage to get a counter-attack in. McGeady down the left-hand side, some excellent skill, spinning around a couple of Rotherham players again, tried to go for that top right-hand corner again, but it just drifted just wide of the far post, and it's half-time. It's 1-0 to us, and I thought, I think that was a very, very good performance. At some point in the half, I expected Rotherham to come forward and go for it, and they did, but we did weather the storm. We defended relatively well, bar the lack of other sort of error and lack of judgment from McLaughlin, but generally we did defend very well. I think McGeoch and Dobson were excellent in that first half, controlled it. Dobson and McGeoch, to be fair, you know, a lot of people usually associate McGeoch with someone who plays the ball backwards or only sideways, but every time they were to get the ball, both of them were either going forward themselves or playing balls forwards and spraying passes forward, which is what I like to see. We're attacking. And again, you know, I think a big thing that we've been complaining about is starting off games really slowly, but we started off this one really, really fast. But it ended badly. But so we get into the second half, and I completely expected Rotherham to come forward and go at us. That was going to be obvious. That we knew that was going to happen, and that is exactly what did happen. They started off really well. The sort of opening 15 minutes of that second half, there were plenty of Rotherham crosses that were getting cleared away without really harming or really testing John McLaughlin at all. But that they were really coming at us, and we just couldn't get the ball out of our own half for a good chunk of that second half. But just past the hour mark, Hasty does get in down the left-hand side. He's a tight angle, but John McLaughlin does close it really well, does really tighten the angles down well, and saves the ball with his feet. So that really saved the day there for us. But only 5 minutes later, Hasty gets in yet again. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I apologise if I'm saying it wrong. But Hasty gets in yet again. Ladapo breaks with the ball, puts it out to the left-hand side again. Similar kind of position to his previous chance, but this time he rockets it into the roof of the net. And it's 1-1, and I've got to say it was deserved, and it was coming, because we come out in that second half so poorly. We dropped deeper an extra sort of 5 yards. You know, in the first half, whenever we broke forward, everyone was going up as a unit. We just seemed very disjointed in that second half. Our defence was sitting way far back. There was huge gaps in between the lines, which were just really unnecessary. And you know, but like I said, I think that penalty originally in the first half that really did take the wind out of our sails, that was probably the most noticeable thing as to why our confidence got shook a little bit. I feel like the players probably thought, you know, we've put so much energy into this first half, and we've got nap to show for it now, because it's 1-1. I don't know. I feel like the lads just came out a completely different side in the second half, which was very, very disappointing. But McNulty, which is probably the strangest substitution of the day for me, McNulty was brought off and Wyke was brought on. Wyke, of course, he was suspended last week. Apparently he did pick up a niggle in training throughout the week as well, so he wouldn't have been 100% fit as it was. But for me, McNulty was our best player in the attacking third. He was the one creating the problems. He was the one really pressing the Rotherham back line. And he looked absolutely excellent. His link-up play was really good. He was actually winning headers as well, getting in behind, really pressing him, like I say. Some lovely touches, and got himself a goal. And then Jack Ross decides to bring him off, which I just do not understand. It's just bollocks. That was such a shit substitution. It was unnecessary, and it just cut off any kind of attacking outlet that we had at that point. Even though we weren't playing particularly well at that point, McNulty was the only really bright light in that second half, and then he brought him off. Do you know what I mean? I just didn't understand that whatsoever. But White come on anyway, and that's when we started to resort to hoof it football. Hoof it. White weren't really winning anything in the air either, and we just had nothing in the final third, pretty much for the remainder of that second half. But with 20 minutes left, Maguire come on, which was obviously a good substitution for me. McLaughlin got brought off, Conor McLaughlin, and O'Nien went back to right back. And I have to say though, in that first half, when O'Nien was playing up there with McNulty, I think O'Nien was actually very, very good. He was excellent in that position in the first half. He was winning headers. He was pressing just like McNulty does, a lot of pace there, and they work very well together. I would say O'Nien and McNulty, but you know, I think that this was probably the right time to drop him back to right back, so then we can accommodate Maguire. So I thought, okay, we're going to really go for it now. Maguire for me is usually a big game player. He'll add that bit of creativity, that little bit of spark we needed for the final 20 minutes. And Maguire was absolutely dog shit. He was absolutely terrible, which was such a shame. I mean, watched the game. He come on for the final 20 minutes. He touched the ball once, lost the ball once, and was offside 3 times, which is just shite. From your big game players, from your better players, you expect so much better. In fact, no, in open play, he had 1 touch and lost the ball. And his only other touch was a corner in the 90th minute, which went straight to the first man. And that was all Maguire did the entire time he was on. I know 20 minutes or 25 minutes because there were 6 minutes added on, but that's just shit. That is terrible. And I know the rest of the team didn't exactly help or give him great service, but he was just terrible. He was absolutely terrible when he come on. But Wyke did get slipped through one-on-one with the keeper. Their centre-back slipped, giving him loads of space. It's one-on-one with the keeper. He can go anywhere he wants, and he hits it straight at the keeper. The ball bounces into the air, ricocheting back off the keeper. White knocks it down for Gooch, finds O'Nien, slips it back for McGeady on the edge of the box, and he just dinks it just wide of goal. So that was the real chance of the second half for us. I mean, in general, the second half was completely dictated by Rotherham, but we still had the better chances. In terms of course, like White was clearly just clear one-on-one with the keeper, and just cocked it up really. 5 minutes left, and Gooch comes off, and Will Grigg comes on, and 5 minutes left in a game where we just resorting to youth football, pointless. No point in having Grigg on the pitch. It didn't add anything to the game really. But it was literally the 94th or the 95th minute. We do manage to break forward. Luke O'Nien gets it. He's right on the edge of the box. He's got acres of space. There's no one closing him down. I'm thinking, just strike the frigging ball. Just hit it. He manages to bring it into the box. Still no one closing down. Hit the ball, man. But he's, for some reason, in the back of his head, he thinks there's someone making an overlapping run. And he just taps it to the right-hand side of himself. And then they just clear it away for a corner, which, of course, comes to nothing. But he should have just struck the ball. It was such a cracking chance. And anyway, the full-time whistle goes, and it's 1-1. So I think in the measurement of both halves, it was probably a fair result, but we should have won. With the penalty and the clear-cut chance we did have, I think we should have won, but, we were so bad in that second half. We were absolutely terrible. It really was a tale of two halves. First half performance, if we managed to put that in the second half as well and continue, and not allow away teams to dictate the play at our place at home. That's what I hate the most. If we manage to keep it the way it was in the first half and bring that over into the second, fantastic. If we just end up conceding a goal, whatever. But the way we just allowed them, the away team, to dictate the play at home is unacceptable. And that is just terrible. Because the first half, we've shown that we can do it. And Rotherham are a very good team. I'm not expecting us to smash them, do you know what I mean? But the way we just give them the opportunity and the power to dictate the play completely in the second half was nothing short of pathetic. It really, really was. So, in all, first half, great. Can't really complain. Bar the penalty, which we should have gone in 2-0 up. But it wasn't to be. Second half, we come out, we're absolutely piss poor and we conceded. And probably lucky, really, that it ended up that way, really, because we were that poor in the second half. But I don't know. Tale of two halves. That's it, guys. But that's it. What did you think of the game, guys? Let me know in the comments down below. It has finished 1-1. But if you have enjoyed this match review, please hit the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sarny Army. But for now, you take care and stay jamming.